Hey guys, Hannah here from Reality Awareness. I'm a bit red and hot. I've been sitting in the sun for our beautiful, powerful full moon ceremony, which was just freaking amazing. And it just makes me wonder the depth of what I'm doing for humanity. And I know we're all doing our part and we're all doing our thing, but honestly, I don't know if you guys can see, but this shape is it's a third eye, right? It's an eye, and the Lemurian crystal is in the middle, and there's like this deep Lemurian energy for our full moon ceremony this morning, and well, I know it's afternoon for a few people, and it's like there's so much we did in it, but the message was coming through. It was like we're replacing the eye of humanity. Now, when it was all like channeling through me, and I'm like, processing this, and I have this conversation with myself while I'm channeling this stuff, right? And I was like, hey, Joy, when I was like in it and like receiving those messages, like the eye of humanity, and my mind started going, and I'm like, November 2018, we did this. I was called to do this global live healing in our Trust Intuition group, and it was literally like replacing the heart of humanity. Like, it was huge, and it was a massive global live healing that went under Oklahoma. It started in Mississippi and Missouri, and what's the other place down south of Mississippi? I think it off the top of my head, right? And it was like clearing all this stuff back in November. It was the end of November 2018. And like we cleared all that stuff that happened on the land there through the Native American Indians and the burnings and everything. And then like the energy took us to like under like Oklahoma and went down under into Atlantis. Like, it was kind of really amazing, right? And that was back in November 2018, and like it was like literally like replacing the heart of humanity. Hey Aaron, hey Leanne. And when like I don't know, it was amazing. And then like a month later, January 2018, January 2019, it was like, Atlantis was rising, and we did like releasing the curse of humanity, which is all about the words and the school system and everything that's like dumbed us down for all this time, right? And disconnected us from our intuition and, replacing the heart of humanity. This one that we did today was like replacing the eye of humanity. Like, and that just streams through, like I'm setting up I know you were there. It was so mind-blowing, right? If you guys want to watch that, please send me a private message. It's not something I share publicly, but if you're called to watch it, please let me know and I'll send you a private message with it. But this today was like I was setting up the crystals, and it was literally like in the shape of a third eye. And I was like, oh, how significant. It's a third eye, right? And the Lemurian crystal in the middle. And then with that, what came through today, like recoding identity, next level, yeah? So this priestess code number 3, but it's so amazing. And like, so my mind was like going back to like, wow, this is like replacing the eye of humanity. And it's so significant because you guys know, right? Like the evil eye, but also like the triangle eye and the whole thing about the third eye and what they've done to the pineal gland for humanity and all that stuff. And what came through today. And so my mind was like on all the current world stuff, and then also back to that November 2018. And I was just like, wow, we did that powerful ceremony that flowed through. Like, that wasn't even a full moon ceremony. It was like just this feeling like we have to do this, like, replacing the heart of humanity. And then this one was replacing the eye. And I was just like, okay, like myself holding the ceremony. And then I'm like, wow, like what is actually going to happen now for these next 18 months? Because look at what's happened since Atlantis rose, and this one all about Lemuria. So it's really interesting, and what happened in this ceremony and what we activated, what we shifted, what we cleared through. I'm like the eye, pineal gland, intuition, Lemuria compared to Atlantis, the heart, and like the heart of humanity, like that ceremony back then, and like all the like spiritual stuff that's been like a big lie, basically, like that, all the sacrificial stuff that they made people do, and it's still happening today, and all that Satan stuff, right? Taking out the heart, like ripping the heart, like all that shit, like. And now, and we replace that heart, and now look what's coming back. People are like, do you guys get this? This is huge, right? Maybe I'm just still like I'm still in full moon ceremony. I'm still in third eye, still in full moon ceremony mode. But like, I don't know. I just felt called to share that with you guys because I'm like, it'd be so interesting to see what happens in the next 18 months because of what we've activated in this ceremony, like on a global scale, like intuition, pineal gland, all the stuff that's been coming out about adrenochrome, and all the darkness that just cannot stay on this planet anymore because of the vibration. Huge, so huge, so huge. Okay, that was massive. I just had to share. I'm like, and I want to talk about my sword. I bought sage for a friend and bring it to her tonight. How funny, it's a full moon. we had the sun. I was like, at the start of ceremony, I'm like, there's no candles today because we've got the sun. But I lit the sage and it, like, I had to get water and put it out. So interesting, right? The sage, the fire, the sun, the sage was on fire. Like, it was on fire, and like the glass has gone all brown in the container that I had it in. I literally had to get the hose and put it out. I'm like, hang on guys, I need to put this out. This is too much. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I said no fire. I didn't need candles. I got the sun. I'm like, I don't know about the sage. That was intense. There was so much sage. And even Josephine said, she was like, we need the sage to burn the shit away from humanity. It's pretty funny. All right. Hi, Amuka. Lorraine. Oh no, it was too much. So I want to share about my sword because people have been asking me about it. So here it is. It's so powerful. It's freaking huge. Oops. It's huge. Yeah, it's coming up to my boob. And it's really heavy. It's actually really, really heavy. And there is like an inscription on it. And I was like, check what's on it. It's a freaking lion. It is a lion. Now, when I bought this, I did not know about the lion civilization. When I bought it, I did not know about the lion civilization. It would have been maybe 3 weeks after I bought this that I found out about the lion civilization. Pretty freaking amazing. However, do you guys know that the lion is the symbol for the 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose? So in 2018, I think it was, I ran the 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose course for free in my reality awareness support group. And it's the lion. Yeah. The 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose is the lion, right? And now I've learned about the lion civilization and I'm like, right, okay, this is interesting because the lion's been there for ages. And then I bought this sword, right? Now I bought this sword, I'll tell you about the story about it in a second. So the inscription, right? Because it's something that I'd never even heard, I don't know. But I was like, oh, hang on a sec. And I said to the guy, I was like, actually, what does that mean? Because I'm not after all the symbols and stuff coming out about humanity. I'm like, what does it actually mean? Because I'm not just going to buy something I don't know. And he's like, well, actually, it's from Warcraft, which is, I don't know, a game, obviously. And I think it's a movie now too. Check out the top of it as well. And it's so huge and heavy. So it's from Warcraft, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want it, but I was like, but he said this is actually the main guy or the bad guy or something. Apparently there's two swords. The sword of light, and there's a dark sword, and this is the sword of light. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it, thanks. I was like, speak no more. And it's so interesting, right, that this even came to me. So on all my road trips, right, that I had done, I was in Broken Hill, in Outback, Broken Hill. If you guys don't know where Broken Hill is, yeah, sold. Broken Hill is in the top western corner of New South Wales. It is like in the middle of nowhere. So you know how, like, you got Australia, right? And then you've got Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia, Northern Territory, right? And like you've got Queensland and the ocean over here. So Brisbane's over here, I live over here, the ocean's over here, New South Wales, Sydney, all of that, right? And then you've got South Australia, Adelaide's down here on the ocean as well. You've got Northern Territory, Darwin's up here, ocean up here. Broken Hill is like literally in the middle of the desert out here. So like it's in the middle of nowhere. You guys seen the photos, right? And with where did I find this sword? In a shop in some little it was like the post office, I think, and it has like all this stuff in it as well. This is where I found that sword. Like, no joke, right? And this, I found it there, and I was like about to do my photo shoot that afternoon, and I went into the shop. I can't even remember what I was getting, and then I saw it and I sent a photo to a day. I was like, wow, check out that sword, because I've always wanted a sword, but I actually wanted a dragon sword, right? But I just hadn't done anything to source one. And I was like, hey, look at that sword, maybe I should get that before we leave. And she sent back a message. She's like, we should get it for your photo shoot today. And I was like, oh yeah. So like last minute I got this sword, right? And it's so interesting because I bought the sword and did the photo shoot, and that was like when midnight went missing, right? Drove all the way back home to like 2 days drive to come back to the coast. Went to the Gold Coast, all the stuff. But in that time I watched Cursed. So on Netflix, I've cancelled my Netflix accounts now, by the way, guys. So I'm talking, this is back in July. I cancelled my account as soon as I saw that kid show thing. I was like, cancel, I'm done. I was in the middle of series and episodes and seasons as well. I was just like, nah, get me out of there. Anyway, there was more reasons to that, but anyway, the point is, because I wanted to focus on my purpose and get back to things. I'm like, stop watching shit, Hannah, just fucking get focused. Anyway, the point is I ended up binge watching Cursed, right? I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but Cursed is like the story before the Mists of Avalon, right? And that show, like, I devoured it. I devoured it. I don't know how. I didn't really have time, but I did, right? And the story in Cursed is about a sword, right? The sword of power or something. But it's almost like she becomes who she is. She is I don't know what, the owner of the sword. I don't know how to say that. She ends up, maybe I shouldn't say this, don't want to watch it, but she ends up dying at the end, and she falls into the lake, and they don't actually say it, but I'm like, wow, she became the Lady of the Lake. You know, the Lady of the Lake with the King Arthur sword, and, you know, the sword comes out of the lake, like, you know, like she literally found her power, found out who she is, basically saved her race and her kind, and then she died, and the other people went into the other realms, and she fell into the lake. Now, I don't know if she fell into the lake with a sword or not. I think Merlin ended up taking the sword with him, but she fell into the lake, and I'm like, wow, she became the Lady of the Lake. That's just my interpretation of it, right? And I like devoured this. Like, I literally bought this. We went back home, midnight was missing. I was in all sorts of distraughtness self, right? Devoured this show, and I was like, wow, I just bought this sword. Like, this is so interesting. 3 weeks later, then I learned about the lion beings and the lion and the tiger, like the feline race. And I'm like, wow, like the lion has literally been there for me for a long time. And it's a symbol of the 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose. And I'm like, well, how's all these connections? I'm like, so this sword actually has a lot more meaning than I originally realized when I first bought it, right? So yeah, so that is the story of my sword, and I'm sure there's more to it. And it's so interesting that I wanted a dragon sword originally, and I love dragons, but I've ended up with this, and I'm lapis lazuli, and it's kind of got the blue lapis. It's not lapis lazuli, but it looks like it in the handle, right? But it's so massive. It's so massive, and it's so heavy. It's like up to my boob. Yeah, it's so big. So that is the story of my sword. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go and jump in the pool probably, because this sun is so hot, and we have now restored the eye of humanity. So look out for what happens in the next 18 months. Our planet is going to shift dramatically in intuition and coming into the truth of realizing what is going on. And us light workers, ancient blooded healers, and empaths are needing to support these people. So it's time to step up, guys. Time to get on purpose with your purpose and the reason that you are here. I'll be running the 12 Divine Steps to Awakening Your Life Purpose in 2021. You have to be in my reality awareness support group. It's all free. I said I'd never run it again for free, but I'm like, it came through, and I'm like, I need to do this again. And then all this happened, and I'm like, okay, 12 Divine Steps to Awakening Your Life Purpose starting January 2021. there's 12, yeah, and there's 12 months in 2021. So if you really want to do the work, dive deep, and come on a journey for the 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose in 2021, send me a message for the link to join, or you can just type into the Facebook search Reality Awareness Support Group. We'll be starting there in January. So yeah, send me a message if you've got any questions. And that is the story of my sword. Love you guys. May the sword of light be raised.